Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, and this is my review for Little Misfortune. So dear viewers, this video game originally released in 2019, a year I remember fondly as the year I played a hell of a lot of video games. And you're probably wondering to yourself, OCG, you oh so talented chap who occasionally makes jokes in bad taste. Some might say hilarious jokes in bad taste. What the hell is this video game? And I'm so glad you asked, dear viewer. This is a horror adventure video game brought to us by those oh so talented bastards at Kill Monday Games, a studio responsible for Franbo, a game I also absolutely adored. Oh yes, spoilers, I adored this game. Well, this probably couldn't be considered a sequel to Franbo. It does take place in the same universe. In this game, we play as Misfortune, an 8-year-old girl with a childlike naivete and a dark sense of humor. She is guided by a voice in her head to seek the prize of eternal happiness for her mother. And that's all I'm going to tell you without spoiling the story for this game, dear viewers, because the plot of this is absolutely fantastic. And it does an absolutely marvelous job of combining child-friendly elements with moments of dark humor. And if you're going to consider playing this game for yourself, which of course I highly recommend that you do, just be aware that this game deals with death, alcoholism, substance abuse, suicide, nudity, profanity, grave robbery, strip clubs, demons, traffic collisions, cruelty to animals, and of course the Grim Reaper. And while that might sound incredibly dark, let me assure you, dear viewers, that this game is often absolutely hilarious and cute and sweet, which is probably considered the same thing as cute, but nonetheless. And a lot of that is down to our titular character of Misfortune herself, who is voiced by the game's writer, designer, and artist, Natalia Martinson. And what an absolutely fabulous job she does as well. But really, dear viewers, she's a very, very funny character, especially in moments where she spouts profanity, or one particularly hilarious sequence where she's climbing through a hole in a wall. And that's all I'll say about that, but that was funny. Not as funny as I am, but again, nothing is. What I also love about this game, very similarly to what I loved about Franbo, is the game's visuals. I mean, you can see them for yourself right here. Absolutely stupendous. And there's some fantastic animated cutscenes, which will make you forget that you're actually playing a video game, and for a couple of moments you might think you're watching a very high-caliber animated movie. A very disturbing, macabre animated movie, but an animated movie nonetheless. I also really enjoyed this game's soundtrack, which I think is head, shoulders, knees, and toes above the soundtrack for Franbo. There's some nice piano, combined with a bit of strings, one or two sequences which we get a bit of rock. Particularly a sequence towards the very end of the game which actually genuinely made me well up. Not because it's a sad sequence, no, on the contrary, because it's a badass sequence involving one of my favorite characters from this game, Benjamin, who is essentially an anthropomorphic fox, and probably one of the more mysterious characters in the game. I also very much appreciated that unlike Franbo, this game was less reliant on point-and-click mechanics, puzzle solving, combining items to do this, or collecting an item to give to such and such. No, this is a much more straightforward affair, which might put some people off, but I actually much much prefer this approach to the mostly puzzle-solving game that Frambo was. You also get to make choices in this game, a la a Telltale The Walking Dead. And some of these might affect the story, and some of them don't. You'll just have to find that out for yourself when you play this game, which I highly recommend that you do. Particularly if you're a fan of Frambo, or other games that combine the animated movie aesthetic with some very, very dark subject matter, like this year's Buy Sweet Carol or Alice Madness Returns. God, I love Alice Madness Returns. But I also now love Little Misfortune. Therefore, I declare that Little Misfortune is splendid. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, another review from yours truly. If you enjoyed this little review of mine, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, well then feel free to give me a thumbs down. But please remember the single most important thing I always tell you, dear viewer, and that is to always stay obsessed with gaming. Are you still here? Oh, you must have really enjoyed this video then. In that case, you had better subscribe to the channel and check out our other content. Otherwise, you're a booby pants, and no one wants to be a booby pants.